Welcome back, Leela fans. And this time, I'm not doing Leela for the first time. What I'm doing is I'm playing on LIChess, and I'm actually not even playing in a tournament or a match game. I'm solving puzzles, and I recently boosted my puzzle rating up to 2100, which I feel good about. It may not impress many of my viewers, but and if you're not impressed, you can just skip this video. But if my rating's higher than yours on this, maybe you can watch and enjoy. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try to solve some of these problems, and you can see that I'm not, if you look at my mouse arrow down here, I'm not solving all of these problems. So I'm going to have some failures, but what I want to try to do is I want to try to go over some kind of a, or even create some kind of a problem solving methodology. And what kind of stuff am I looking at? I'm looking at, in this position, I'm looking at a sack on this square where black just moved the pawn up. Now I could sack with the bishop, and it'd probably reply pawn takes bishop, and I would take with the knight. And that, what that would do is that would support a bishop check down here. But you know, he can just capture the bishop with the knight, so that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. What else could I do? If I took with the knight and the pawn recaptures my bishops here, and now the knight's pinned, and so my bishop has a pathway, or my queen has a pathway to get to h5, and then threatens mate, supported by the bishop. But the knight could take my queen, and then my bishop can take his queen, and that's sort of an exchange. And in fact, I'm trading off a knight for 2 pawns, and then I'm throwing away this bishop because the rook will take it later on at the end of the combination. So what other stuff could I do? I could take this knight could take this knight on f6, the knight on d5, and check. Black can recapture 2 different ways, so that doesn't seem like it's that forcing. But if black takes with the queen, then when my knight captures, to do the 2 pawns for knight sack, this rook is attacking the queen, and so the queen would retreat somewhere, and it's not really that clear where it would retreat to, but it wouldn't be that good a situation for black if that happens. So more than likely it would be smarter to take with the bishop to avoid that. And so then, and see, I don't know the solution to this problem. I'm actually just trying to decipher what the solution is in real time in the video. So and actually I don't have an analysis board, so I'm actually imagining what the position would look like, and what it would look like is queen, bishop, and then a white knight, and the white bishop here, and this knight's gone, that knight's gone. And so where would we go from there? So basically, move 1, knight takes, bishop takes, then knight takes. He could play pawn takes. And then on bishop takes, it's bishop takes, and we're basically demolished. So that doesn't look like it's going anywhere. So after knight takes, bishop takes, and then knight takes, say pawn takes, the queen can now come down here and threaten this h7 square, which would be mate because this knight's gone. So maybe we don't want to recapture with this pawn. Maybe we capture with the bishop. And we can still make the same queen move, threatening mate. And I basically don't see any easy way to stop that. So let's try it. That's going to be my solution. Knight takes f6. Oh, and I failed. Now I'm not under 2100. It's already taken my points. So this is what I don't know if you guys have even played the puzzle solver on LIChess before, but it's a challenge. So what would be my second choice on this? My second choice would be knight takes right straight up. Ah, see, that was the best move. I didn't actually expect that knight takes knight. I was expecting pawn takes knight. So now that we're in this situation, what do we do? What would you do in this situation? I see a combination right now. The bishop checks, and then the knight checks, and then the bishop takes the queen. Ta-da! So that was the correct solution. So I was looking for a mate, and the puzzle was actually geared for capturing the queen in an exchange. So I think that's a pretty good. So you can vote on these. You can vote on these problems. I would give that one a plus because it definitely fooled me. So let's push on and try another one. Okay, so the bishop just retreated back to this square, and it's going head to head with this incoming bishop. You know, I would really love to have my knight on this square, supporting the queen. I'm just imagining, you know, what is my dream position. You know, I would love to have my knight here, threatening this mate. You know, so I'm thinking bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, threatening this mate. Seems like it's pretty easy to defend against that, though, because the queen could just drop back to the square, say, or even this square, and defend. Oh, I think I see it now. I see the solution. Does anybody else see the solution? And actually, you know, it's one of those nasty little things. If I say smothered mate, then you'll get it right away probably. So bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. Then the king has to retreat into the corner. Then the knight checks, and the rook's going to have to take the knight, because if it doesn't, and the king moves over here, then you can move the knight here, double check, and king has to move back in the corner. The queen checks. The rook has to take the queen, and then the knight checks here, and so as this unfolds, when we get to the first knight check, then the rook's gonna capture. So we're gonna get a rook, a pawn, and a bishop for these two pieces. So that's my solution. Let's go with it. And I got it. And how many points did I get? Just 4. So maybe that was a pretty obvious one. I didn't think it was that obvious, but I liked it, so I'll put this up. Next. And what did he just do? He just moved his bishop. He didn't. Why didn't he take that pawn? Because he wants to defend this square from my knight. Yeah, see, I can't even check here because the bishop's gonna take my knight. You know, I can't check from here because the pawn's gonna take my knight, unless I want get this pawn out of the way to move my pawn up. So the bishop is not restricted. One thing that I look at is, does he have any pieces that are hanging? Does he have any pieces I can just like set up and take because they're not defended? Like these, neither one of these pieces, none of his pieces are defended. You know, so you know, I could possibly maybe get a double attack going, or I attack the king and the king and the another piece at the same time, or maybe I could attack knight and a bishop on the same file or something. Maybe I could attack a couple of pieces on the same diagonal. You know, maybe I could win a piece on tactics. If I'm not going for straight on checkmate. Maybe I can drive a piece, like push this pawn, drive a piece to a less safe spot. You know, I could push this pawn up. This bishop's got to go. Say the bishop wants to stand this diagonal, it's got to go down here, one of these two squares. And if it doesn't, do that, then I can move my knight in for the check. If it, like if it retreats this way to this square maybe, or one of these three squares, then I can get my check in, even though that's probably not a winning move, but that's the kind of stuff I would be looking at. I could you know, I could just flat out take this pawn. So what would I do? So I realize, you know, a lot of effort goes into solving these problems. A lot of time and effort goes into solving these problems. I could just take this pawn straight up, and then when my knight comes into check, if the king retreats into the corner, the rook takes its mate. So he's got limited options. So that seems to be sort of like a forcing continuation. Oh, that's another thing I look for: forcing continuation. Like the guy, the opponent, you attack something, and he's got a limited number of choices on how to defend himself to survive. So that's what I would be looking for, something like that. And this rook takes pawn. Maybe that fits within that description of a forcing continuation, because he's not gonna move his king safely out of this corner. Maybe he could come out with this pawn and attack me. I can still check him, you know. And if he can't go in the corner, he can't come out along the 7th rank, so he's gonna come over here, and then I could still check here with my rook because the rook would be hanging versus the king, and so the king would be going here or here. It can't go here or here because of the knight. So it'll be checkmate. That would be checkmate. So if I take this pawn, it's a threat of checkmate in just a couple moves. So I think that's going to be my solution. Ta-da! Oh, so yeah, I didn't account for, okay, what's the defense going to be to that? And we can't go here because of the bishop, so we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. So I'm going to have to throw my bishop away just to get out of trouble. So he may have to play rook take. Yeah, see, he had to play rook. He had to play rook takes, you know, basically bishop and pawn for a rook exchange in order to survive. So that worked out, even though I didn't look at the counterplay I should have looked at. But I'm back up to 2100. It's amazing that my rating's that high, considering how bad I play. So let's try another one. Okay, the knight was forced to move, and it came forward to this square, and it's actually threatening to check and then win the rook if we don't do something about that. You could actually move the rook over here to defend against that. So there's a simple defense. There's a simple defense from that attack. So when you're playing in a tournament, what you're supposed to do is, say this is one thing you should do when you're solving problems like this is you should imagine you're in a tournament. You're actually in a real tournament. You only have a few minutes to decide what to do, and as soon as you find a good move, you make it right immediately. No, you look for a better move. So we have a good move. It's going to defend us against that check. So now we look for something better. We could move the bishop here, defend against that same check. And does that do anything extra? I don't think the rook move does anything extra. Another thing is we could allow the check, move the king over, say one square. We wouldn't want to actually. We probably want to just retreat it and let him nail our rook. That would be a sacrifice. But if we're going to do that, we better have something. You know, like pawn. The pawn moves up here, threatens the queen. If he's going to check, I retreat, takes the rook. We have something, and we're going to play pawn takes queen. So that's going to, in order to stop that pawn takes queen, he's got a forcing continuation. Basically, he's got to do something about that, like pawn takes pawn. He's got to do something, or maybe retreat the queen. Just be very passive, so that he can renew the threat of this knight check. So, anyways, and as a matter of fact, now that gives me the idea. I push this, and say he does play pawn takes. Now, this knight is no longer defended by anything, because we've done an interference move on this diagonal where the knight was defended, but now that pathway is closed by our pawn. So now we can nail that knight, and no matter whether he retreats his queen or takes with the pawn, it's the same. It's the same answer. We get to take his knight. So he's got to do something. Like, he could do the check, like I said, but then he's got to do something with his queen. So we would do something over here, like say move the king up to attack that knight, and then if he goes ahead with knight takes rook, then he loses his queen. So he's got to do something up here, and then we nail his knight with our king. So that's my secondary defense. My primary plan here is to try to win this knight straight up, and then my secondary is if he drops in this in between move, that I'll just go after his knight, and I don't think he has anything that can stop it. I mean, he's got a possible check here, but I just take with my pawn. So it seems to work. So let's go for it. I mean, this is going to be my solution. Advancing the pawn one square. See, and he did do the check. And now I go here, and then I take the knight. Success! I solved the problem. So, and I got 6 points. So now I'm all the way up to 21-20. So I think I'm going to end this video for the moment. Maybe resume it later and put 2 files together, or maybe just call this episode 1. Either way, it's episode 1, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it longer or just end it here. So I'm just going to say thanks for watching so far, and hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now.